Welcome back to another episode of the End of an Era podcast. I'm your host, Elise Fox, and I'm so excited to be here today. Happy International Women's Day. I do record this podcast like a week before it releases. So it is International Women's Day today. But honestly, in this household, every day is International Women's Day. So shout out to anyone who is a woman who is supporting the End of an Era podcast. You are a part of the family, and shout out to you for being a supporter. Second thing, I am co-hosting an event with one of my favorite podcasts, Black Girls Texting, and their brand Blue Water Girls, and also Sad Girls Club. We're having an event at the Ace Hotel in Brooklyn. It's a Q1 check-in because honestly, this year is not giving what I think any of us thought it would give. So we want to just like have a nice touch base with our community, give us all some prompts to think about, but also sort out and learn more about how we're healing and how we're dealing within community. We all have really robust platforms, so we just want to bring everyone together for a nice kiki chat. And shout out to 10 to Rum for being our liquor sponsor and the Ace Hotel for being our venue sponsor. It'll be a really, really amazing night. It is March 24th at 6 p.m. Tickets will be linked in the description as well as all of our Instagram bios. So meet us, link up if you want to see the girls from Black Girls Texting. If you want to meet me, if you have anything to get off your chest, join us for this really incredible Q1 check-in. It's going to be a night to remember. Okay, let's jump into my current obsessions. My current obsessions is a little basic, but my current obsessions, I usually cook every single meal or try to cook as many things as I can from scratch. Very much if I want a sandwich, I'm going to make the bread from scratch. If I want like some fish, I try to just go out, buy fresh fish and, you know, make everything from scratch. But the past couple of weeks, I've just been so booked with work, overexerting myself in different spaces, but it all feels good. It's all for the greater good. And I haven't had time to, you know, make a loaf of bread. And anyone who knows or who bakes knows that you have to wake up and decide that you're making bread as soon as you wake up, because it takes like 4 to 5 hours out of your day. And if you start too late, then you're up in the middle of the night, like punching dough. This is probably very boring, but anyway, I decided that I want to just treat myself more to have like good food from mom and pop's shops and mom and pop's restaurants. So I've been doing more of that, like supporting local mom and pop shops, especially after the blackout? Is that what that was called? The blackout, where no one shopped at Amazon or Target or just like any big box stores on February 28th. I started that when Target played themselves and eliminated all DEI initiatives. I said, oh, okay, like Target no more. I rarely ever shopped at Target. I just did it for the convenience. I think that's why we all shop at these places. It's for the convenience. The prices aren't that different from our local places, but we can't really get things the same day, obviously from like the bodega or any mom and pop shop. But I think it's worth it to support the communities that want to support you and also care about diversity, equity, and inclusion. Like that's a core value. It should be a core value with every human, but I digress. I'm saying that to say that I've been doing a lot more. I've been supporting a lot more local restaurants and getting a lot of Caribbean food. I have this one spot in Brooklyn. Whenever I'm in Brooklyn, I go for their breakfast special. It's called Tamara's. It's on Pitkin, and they make a really good mackerel and steamed dumpling. Oh my gosh, special. It's so amazing. But anyway, I've been obsessed with just like treating myself more to thoughtful meals, I guess, like thoughtful and planned out meals. And I'm back on my smoothie game, which is also kind of basic too. I have like these really interesting like food cycles. I don't know if it's a seasonal thing, but every month or two, I'm obsessed with like eating the same thing every single day. Like I could eat the same thing for breakfast every single day. Dinner, not so much, but breakfast and like brunch, I could eat the same thing every single day. And now I'm back on my smoothie game and I feel better than ever. So my go-to smoothie, since I know you're on the edge of your seats trying to figure out what my go-to smoothie is, let me share. I love a pineapple, banana, mango with coconut cream and hemp seed. Oh my gosh, fire. Like one, it wakes you up because of all of the citrus. Two, it's very filling, but not overly filling where you feel like you can't do anything else for the rest of the morning. It's a good way to kind of wake up and put something in your stomach without feeling heavy throughout the entire day. Because for me, if I wake up and I eat, for example, a bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich, I am going to be down bad. I'm going to be just like sluggish, and I don't like feeling that way. So I'm back on my smoothie game, and I'm just like playing around with different recipes, and it feels good. It feels nice to be intentionally healthy, and in a way that the intention isn't for me to be skinnier or to lose weight or to lose certain body fat. It's just because it makes me feel good. So back on my smoothie gang. And if you have any really delicious smoothie recipes, please send them my way. I'm always down for a good combination. Like, let's share. Let me know what you're having that tastes really good and is satisfying. My other obsession, I don't know if you probably are on TikTok. My other obsession, I know we have people who are on TikTok who listen to this podcast, but Lil Nas X has been cracking me up. Like, he's been like back in his bag as far as entertainment goes. And he kind of disappeared for a little bit. Like, Lil Nas X was literally like on top for a long time. And, you know, people were saying he was an industry plant, which, you know, that's still up in the air. But I kind of love that he's accepted or has accepted his flop era, quote unquote. I don't feel like any of us have flop eras. I think, like I said, the end of an era is also the blossoming or the start of something beautiful. So he's embracing his quote unquote flop era, but I love that he's coming back and sharing how he felt when he was at his lowest. Like, wow, I'm not getting the views that I wanted to get. I didn't want to come back because I knew I couldn't come back as strong as I started. And I think that is such a great message because he was somebody who you couldn't even turn on anything without seeing his face. Remember he did that collaboration with Mischief, and he made those sneakers with like the blood in them. Like, he was literally in every single part of media, whether he was triggering somebody, whether he was making somebody laugh, whether he was just entertaining and dancing or making out with, you know, the devil. He was all over the place. And now you don't really see or hear much from him. And that's also a reminder to let you know, like, all of this internet stuff is fickle. Like, so make sure you have a backup plan for your backup plan, because people will change and switch and forget about you overnight. But I didn't forget about you, Lil Nas X. I always thought you were really cool and entertaining. So he's back on TikTok, kind of like relaunching himself, owning who he is, as he always has, but like being really true and authentic to his story and what he's accomplished and what he's been through. And I think that's really special, especially to see someone who was like really at the height. I feel like he was similar to how Ice Spice was 2 years ago or a year and a half ago, where you couldn't dodge Ice Spice. Like, she was everywhere. You heard her music. You saw her in London. You saw her at fashion shows. And now it's a little bit quieter. And I really love that people are showing, or that he is showing, you know, what goes on in between that quote unquote flop era to the rise of the next level or a new era in life.
Before I make this comeback, I want y'all to know the people-pleasing era is officially over. I've been shrinking myself for like the last year or so I cannot step on toes. I don't give a fuck if your toe gets stepped on. Repeat these affirmations. I'm me, the fuck. I'm me, the fuck. The fuck they thought was going on. And stop trying to show your ex what they missed out on. Stop trying to teach your family a lesson for not believing in you. Stop trying to shit on your haters. Do it for you.
Shout out to you, Lil Nas X. So this is the perfect time to jump into what am I beginning? What era am I beginning? What era am I ending? I don't really have an answer for like era that I'm beginning. I told y'all last podcast that I am like back in my bag. When I say I'm creatively back in my bag, I fully mean it. And on Thursday, I had the honor of capturing press for Susan Taylor's nonprofit National Cares Mentoring Movement. And it was my first time ever doing like a press junket in that way. Like, to my left was BuzzFeed and TMZ. To my right was E! News. And it was a little chaotic, but like I said, I want to challenge myself to do things that are a bit uncomfortable. Shout out to my girl Niala, who really gave me this opportunity to capture press on behalf of Teen Vogue and Sad Girls Club. It was a time. Like, it was a time. I was able to speak with Sherry Shepherd, Ayanla, Dr. Youssef, Miss Tina Knowles, which was amazing. She is so sweet. Body tea, hair is gorgeous. Like, she's everything. And she's also like very kind. Like, she gives kind of like grandma energy, but like a grandma who knows her angles. I remember when I stepped up and like asked her for a photo, she's like, yeah, make sure the flash is on. Let's stand this way. Like, she was really particular. And I love that. Like, I love to see it. And it was a great evening. So when I say that I'm in my bag, I mean, I'm trying out different things creatively, even if they do make me feel uncomfortable or it's just something that's new. I'm okay with being nervous. I'm okay with messing up. I'm okay with asking for help or asking for suggestions. There was one girl who was on the carpet with us. She was from TMZ, and she was kind of putting us all on game. There was mainly Black media on the red carpet, but a lot of us, I can tell, we were pretty new to this like press red carpet scene. So the girl from TMZ, she was around the same age as us, but she's from TMZ, and she was putting us on like, you guys got to be more aggressive. If you want the question, you have to like call them out, like make sure you introduce yourself. It was really nice to see all of us like be uncomfortable within community. And it was cool to see how we were all kind of capturing and telling our own stories on the red carpet with the same people. And that just shows you like Black women, like we can literally do anything. And I know you've been seeing a lot of discourse on influencers being on the red carpet interviewing Black talent and how they just been flopping. There was one interview where a girl was interviewing Meg the Stallion, and then it was her and another girl. I have no idea who they were, but they were like bigging her up kind of and saying like, oh my God, Meg the Stallion, we love you so much. We watched your documentary. You went through so much in your life. Da 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 da. Your music makes me want to fight. Like whenever I want to fight, I listen to your music. Nothing about shaking ass music makes me want to fight. Like, I'm so sorry. Meg Thee Stallion's music does not make me want to fight at all. I don't know where they got that from. It's such a strange angle and it's weird. And they've been getting called out for, being themselves. And then the other red carpet faux pas was when the two women were interviewing Babyface, and then that singer, what's her name? I don't know how to pronounce her name, so don't come for me. Chappelle Roan. I don't know how to pronounce her name. But when she was behind him, they like kind of moved Babyface to the side and interviewed her instead. That hit me really hard because my first like celebrity interview was Babyface about 10 years ago. It was for NPR, and he was doing like a lifetime achievement interview. And I was doing the interview for him and the camera work. And I remember him being just like such a gentle soul. And he was just so happy to share his knowledge with the youth. His publicist came up to me and said he really loves when people ask him for pictures. So if you want a picture, you can get a picture. And I was not about that life with asking celebrities for pictures. I was very much playing the background. But I was like, you know what? Like, let me ask him for a picture. And he was so happy. He kind of like lit up and was like, yeah, I'll take a picture with you. No problem. And we took a picture. But to see like the greats of our time be snubbed on the red carpet, it just puts a battery in my back to be someone who fills that space in when they get fired or they're no longer on the red carpet covering. So I was able to speak to some really amazing Black women in media, and Taraji P. Henson was honored for her foundation and the work that she does in the mental health space. So it was very aligned, and I was happy to be in that space. And that leads me to, what am I growing into, or what era am I ending? And the era that I'm ending is being insecure about my natural state. And don't get me wrong, I'm cute. Like, I know I'm cute. I know I'm smart. I know I'm talented, all of these things. But I've never really embraced my natural hair because it's shorter now. I used to have longer hair, like every Black girl says. My hair used to be down my back, but I'm not lying. My hair used to be a lot longer when it was like jet black. I've added a lot of color to my hair. And my issue is I love the color in my hair. Like, I love this light brown hue, and I don't think I'm ever going to change it, but it did damage my hair. I probably lost about 6 inches over the past year and a half. So when I wear my natural hair out, when I look in the mirror, for a long time, I didn't feel comfortable. I didn't feel like it was appropriate. I didn't know how to dress it up or how to style it in a way that I felt great. And I'm around a lot of natural hair baddies. Like, shout out to my girl, Shania. Shania does a really amazing things with her hair. Her twist outs, her blowouts, they all look like pristine, and it fits her so well. So I've been trying to play around with different styles and feel comfortable with my natural hair in this color state. So my first outing with my natural hair was actually for this gala. It meant something to me to like meet amazing women who are doing their thing, who are, really strong in who they are. They're strong within their identity. They're strong within their mission and their values. And for me to just stand there as my natural self, obviously I had on makeup, y'all. I had on makeup, but I mean, as far as my hair, it was nice to like wear my natural curls and to still feel confident, and to be around women who make me feel confident and seen and heard and inspired. So I am ending being uncomfortable with my natural hair. I'm wearing it right now. And that's not to say I'm never going to wear a weave. I'm not going to have a bust down because I am, just to protect my hair. But I'm also leaning into showing more of like my full natural self, because there's nothing wrong with that. And I second guess myself so much. The day I posted the photos from the evening before, or from the evening of the gala, my best friend texted me and she's like, girl, you finally are in your final form. Like, your natural hair is so beautiful. Like, you look stunning. She didn't say all of that, but she said, she picked me up. And made me feel really good. And I wasn't fishing. I didn't even send her any photos. I was just like, let me just post this on the gram and slide off. And she saw me for me, and that felt really nice. So if you are like feeling challenged about your appearance or owning your natural state, I know it's so hard, especially as women of color, especially as young black girls, black women. We see these standards. We see the bust down, the lace fronts. Now they have the lace front ponytails. There's always something for us to cover who we are. But I really want to implore you to take a step or take a day where you just have your natural curls out, even if you just stay in the house. Like, take photos in your natural hair, try different hairstyles, go on TikTok, get some flexi rods. Like, there's so many ways we can manipulate our hair. Like, our hair is so powerful. We are the only community of women who have the type of hair texture that we have. So have fun, play with it, and don't let anybody tell you like your hair is unprofessional. We've fought so much, and there have been so many laws that have been put in place for our, like, specifically for our hair, that we should lean in and actually love our hair publicly and loudly. So I understand the struggle. Do it on your own time. Do it on your own pace. I am in my mid-30s, so it took me a long time, but I think I'm back. Even with my like shorter hair, I still feel really confident, and that feels good for me to move into, especially like with the summer months coming, and just like having more fun with my style and my personality through my hair. And we're back. So let's jump into this week's topic. Also, if you aren't watching this podcast, if you didn't know, you can watch this on YouTube. I insert different clips, vlogs. I just spoke about the gala that I was at last week. You can view that footage right there. Like, you can view it on YouTube. What fun is that? You get to see me in action. You get to see me, you know, in my different outfits, sitting on my bed, filming this podcast. So if you aren't watching, just know that you can watch this on YouTube as well. Jumping into this week's topic, and it's around... it's a full circle moment for me, honestly, because there's been a lot of energy around my kind friends not being treated the way that I know that they should be treated. The kindest people in my life are going through the hardest times in their lives right now. And I know that's it's for greater good, or there's, you know, learnings or different things that are happening. And I know it's for learnings. I know there's a mission. I know there are goals behind everyone's struggle, but literally across the board, all of my kindest and most thoughtful and hardest working friends are going through it. And it really, I know it sucks to see. It sucks to see. And I've been just thinking about, like, why are people being taken advantage of during these times? And I think it's because everyone is kind of scrambling, or maybe there's a lot of chaos in the world. So people are feeling that energy, and they're also not only feeling it, but they're putting it out into the world too. I guess the people who aren't working on themselves. And I just want to say, if you're a kind person, please know that you're not alone in this. There are so many people who are struggling. I'm like really speaking in circles because I don't want to give away anybody's, you know, tea. But I had, like, one of my good friends, she's going through struggles with work. She's going through struggles with, you know, management. Another friend of mine is going through housing struggles. Another friend of mine is going through relationship struggles with, you know, platonic and romantic relationships. It's just across the board. All of my people are going through really hard things, and they are like some of the best people in my life. And including myself, I consider myself a really kind person. But I also think that with me being in the wellness space for so long, people have absolutely 100,000% got me twisted, like got me 100% messed up. Because if you were to speak to my best friends, like the ones that I grew up with, the ones who knew me before Sad Girls Club, they are incredibly shocked at the work that I do. Not because it's in the wellness field, but it's because I have to present a certain way to get things done in business. Like anyone does. You go to work, you have your certain work tone, you have your certain workflow, you leave, you go home, and you can just be your full self. For me, my work is, I don't have an actual like office space. So like my work when I'm on Zooms, like I present a certain way, but when I'm home or if I go out to an event, I'm still presenting in that way because I represent a company, my company. But Odilise was a little bit more rambunctious. I would call things out a little bit more harshly. I wouldn't let people play with me as much as I do now or have let on. And I think I'm going to get back more to Odilise because I think there can be a good balance between checking things and still remaining true to myself and my kind-heartedness, because there have been certain situations even in the past month where people have been trying to leverage my company for their own personal gain. They've been taking advantage of my kindness and just blatantly being disrespectful, to be honest. And it doesn't feel good for it to happen, but it also doesn't feel good for me to let it slide. So this is like my little warning, not to you guys because y'all are part of the End of an Era family, but just going forward, don't be afraid to check people or to be firm in what you believe in and what you know is right and what you know is wrong, because people will step all over you if you allow them to. I wasn't getting stepped all over. I was letting people cross multiple lines and I knew it wasn't right. So going forward, that's not going to happen again. I am going to be a lot more true to myself. And it's so interesting that when you eliminate people who are quite literally poison in your life, you will feel, one, a weight lifted off of your shoulders, but two, the new people that are coming into my life, like since letting a certain person go or a certain couple people go, I have received so many blessings in that space. For example, me doing the red carpet press coverage. I'm also going to another gala tonight. And I just think that when you kind of like shed and like really stand up for yourself and put your foot down, good things will come. They will always come. So be patient, but also be firm and let people know what it is. If they try to play with you, let them know what it is in a way that works for you. You can be kind about it, but be firm about it at the same time. So if you saw the title of this episode, it's called Let Them, and it's obviously borrowed from Mel Robbins' New York Times bestselling book, The Let Them Theory. And I'm not going to hold you, this book has changed my life. And that sounds super corny, but honestly, it changed the way that I think and approach relationships and approach how I engage with difficult people in my life. And it's kind of a full circle moment because my therapist, who I adore, she was my therapist when I was like right after I had Basel, and you know, I kind of quote unquote graduated from therapy, and now we are, you know, we're cool. Like we're cool now. I can say that we're cool. We're friends, and we hung out last week, and she knew about certain situations that were happening in my life, so she gifted me this book, The Let Them Theory by Mel Robbins. If you're watching this, you can see it on screen. So the Let Them Theory, it's broken down into a few different parts. I resonated with this book as soon as I read the first page. Honestly, I've had it for a couple days. I'm halfway through and I kind of don't want to finish it yet because it's so good. So the book starts off with the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 theory that Mel Robbins created when she was down bad, depressed, not knowing what her next step was, but knowing that she still had to go. She still had to get up and do things. And she didn't necessarily want to do them every single time, every single day. So what she would do is when she's laying in bed and she knows like, hey, I have to get up and let's say walk the dog, count down from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And at 1, you just get up and do it. You just get up and do it. You trick your mind into just saying, I got to do this. Let me make it happen. Let me count down from 5 and make it happen. So for me, this is helpful because there are so many tasks that I quite literally do not want to do when it comes to even parenting, when it comes to, you know, household chores and work. I've been implementing the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 theory into my own life, and it just made me a more productive person. For example, the last thing that I want to do every single morning is work out. I used to go to the gym, but now I just do bedroom workouts, which is like me making things easier on myself, but then I still don't do them. So I've been telling myself, okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and I'm up. And then I just commit to it. Like you have to trick your brain into committing to something that you don't want to do. And this countdown kind of like gears your body and your mind at the same time to just make it happen for yourself. So the book starts off with that theory. And I was like, oh, this is actually really cool. I started doing that. And then the Let Them Theory is the next part of it. So the Let Them Theory is essentially allowing you to accept what your reality is without feeling the urge for you to change anything. The Let Them Theory helps you deal with really difficult people. It helps you navigate very uncomfortable situations. Mel has an example of her being on her phone, you know, doom scrolling as we all do, and then stumbling upon a Facebook post of her friends out on like a friendcation, and they're all out having a great time, living it up, mimosas, like having a great time, and she's not there. And her immediate reaction was to get mad, to, you know, reach out and say, why am I not invited? She wanted to react in such a negative way. And she had to basically trick her brain into the Let Them Theory. And the Let Them Theory was, if my friends are out having a great time without me, let them. Like, let them. If they want to post pictures of this great time that they're having, let them. Of course, you'll have your own kind of FOMO, but let them have their time. There's a reason why they're all together. There's a reason why they planned that trip. There's a reason why you're not there. So let that happen. When Mel sees the photos of her friends having a great time on Facebook, her immediate reaction is to ask, like, why am I not there? Or to feel bad about herself, or to question her own self-worth. Why am I not there? Why was I not invited? How come they didn't tell me about this? They planned this behind my back. You just have to let them have this trip. If they planned this trip without you, it was for a reason. And as she was discussing with her husband, he said to her, like, you barely even see those women. You don't even hang out with them. When is the last time you talked to them? So with the let them theory, she had to, kind of trick her brain to say, like, well, they're having this time. It sucks for me, but like, let them. And with that, she had to think about what her relationship or role is within those friendships as to why she felt that way. And when she thought about it, she said, I haven't spoken to these women in years. Like, yes, our children grew up together. We were a part of this community, but I haven't checked up on them. I haven't reached out and checked in on how they're doing or how how their lives are doing, how the kids are doing. I do see them in passing. We might see each other at the farmer's market, but that's not enough to be invited on a cross-country trip or vacation with a group of people that see each other and probably speak to each other on the daily. So with the let them theory, she let them have their fun, but she also thought about what her role was within those relationships or within that space as to why she felt that way. And then when she thought about it, she's like, actually, it is valid why I'm not invited. It does suck, but what can I do to ensure this doesn't happen again? I can reach out to them authentically when they're back. Like, hey, I just want to catch up, grab a coffee and check in with you all. Hey, I want to catch up and see how the kids are doing, or, how are things at work? She planned to insert herself back into their lives in a way that is authentic. And she reached out not to, be invited out on the next trip, but she wanted to understand why she was interacting in her friendships in the way that she was. So there's always a reason why things happen. And for us to not have this really visceral reaction, we have to understand what our role is while letting them have their time and their emotions. My favorite chapter so far, because I am only halfway through the book, is how to deal with difficult people. And we all have that person in our lives or those people in our lives. And it's typically friends and close family that just inserts their opinions unwarranted, unprompted into your life because they want you to do so well. If you're doing something that they feel like is beneath or below you, they will give you their opinion, even though you didn't ask for it. And I used to be someone who would argue back, and it just creates this back and forth, really angry and aggressive dialogue that doesn't have to exist. If people insert their opinions into your lives, let them. Let them. There's a point in the book that says emotions come and go throughout the entire day, as we know, but an emotion that isn't reacted upon within 90 seconds will diminish. We all have these moments where we receive a text and it's a really aggressive text. And the first thing you want to do is write a paragraph. When you sit back, and it's the hardest thing to do at times, trust me, I know it's hard to not argue back, especially when you got the tea and you also know that this person is dead ass wrong. It's hard to step back and not write the most aggressive, nasty, stanky text message back to them. But if you give yourself 90 seconds, you let them have that conversation. They can't argue with themselves. Some people might for a little bit. Arguing is a 2-person game or 2 or more game. So if you don't respond to them, you just let them have those conversations in that message. You can just say, okay. And that's it. You let them have their moment. You let them get it off their chest, but you don't have to engage with it. And that takes the responsibility off of you to validate yourself in their eyes. And it also takes the emotional component off of you. So you don't get, so consumed by, why would they say that to me? How could they use those words against me? Let them be who they are, because when you let people show you who they are, that helps you navigate where you want to be or how you see yourself in their life. And while I've been using the let them theory, it's eliminated my urge to engage in conversations that honestly do not serve me. It saves my emotional capacity. It saves my energy. It saves brain power, honestly. So when I see or hear or, have a conversation where I know it's kind of going a different way, I just let it happen. I'll let that person speak and I'll just say, okay, thanks. Okay, cool. You gave me your opinion, and I'll just keep it pushing. And people are kind of shocked or thrown off by it, especially people in your life who know you and they know you like to tussle. They know you like to argue a little bit. It's going to throw them off at first, but then after a while, they will stop having those conversations. One will hope. But I think with practice, the people in your life who are particularly difficult or just try to press buttons, they will stop because they don't get that engagement from you. So let people show you who they are, and you react in a way that controls your emotions, because you can only control your emotions. You can only change what's in your life, what's in your body, what's in your vessel. So let them have that moment to get it off their chest, and then it's gone. I know it sucks to like have to hear someone's opinion, but let them have their opinion. It cannot affect you more than those 90 seconds. You know, let it go. And then you could also reassess how that person is in your life because they've shown you who they are. As a Capricorn, I love to be a fixer. I'm a planner. I plan way ahead. And I'm always trying to keep things like pretty streamlined. And I would become so upset if I was a part of a group message with friends and we're planning a trip, we're planning an outing or something, dinner, whatever it is. And people aren't responding right away. People aren't, answering all of the questions that I had in the message. They may answer one of the 2 questions or one of the 3 questions. And I'm just like, geez, like, why aren't you answering my questions? Why aren't you responding? Why aren't you doing this? I had to sit back and say, I can't control how anyone else responds or reacts. I can only control how I react to their responses. So I've been thinking about the role that I play when it comes to difficult people in my life. And I do engage. Like, you do play a role in relationships that are kind of strained or, not the best, even if you don't want to admit it. And for myself, even if I don't physically respond, my emotional response is enough for me to feel down and out. I love that the let them theory can be applied in every aspect of life. There's an example of how let them theory can be implemented at work. And the example that was given is, this is not an exact quote, but say you worked on a pitch for weeks. You know it's a great pitch. You did your research, you studied, you practiced in the mirror, you practiced with friends, and they said like, this is great, this is golden. You pitch the idea and everyone in the room are just like casually nodding their heads, like, yeah, cool, that was great. And then someone else pitches after you and they get somewhat of a standing ovation. Your idea wasn't invalid. Your idea was not bad. Because people didn't respond in the way that you wanted them to respond doesn't make your idea any less valuable. It just wasn't for them. So the let them theory actually empowers you to take that idea, to take that motion, to take that energy from that idea and just say like, that didn't work for them. It might work for something else or another project. Cool. Back to the drawing board. It also works really well in dating. Say you're dating someone, it's been about a week or 2, you go out for dinner, conversation is great, dinner is great. You make another plan, you go out again, and then after the second time, that person ghosted you. All of the energy that you put into that relationship was not wasted. You did everything that you could. You played your role, you played your part. That person might not have had the emotional capacity to accept the energy that you were giving or the energy that it takes to maintain a relationship itself. So you've done nothing wrong. You can only control what your actions were. If your actions were genuine and you were doing everything that you could to sustain this, this new relationship, it's on them. So let them remove themselves from your life. And it also clears space for someone new who would accept who you are, who would accept that energy that you are putting out into the world. Once you start implementing the let them theory, you honestly just let things roll off your back so easily. Like, okay, that didn't work for them. Cool. Let them. And I'm going to keep my momentum going and use this in a space where it will be accepted. So there's a point in the book that says adults are essentially stunted 8-year-olds. The ones who are working on themselves, their self-development, who are going to therapy, who are actively growing within their communities, we have a different emotional capacity to those who aren't doing any self-work. If you think about it, there are certain behaviors that adults do that can connect directly to childhood behavior. This chart is really cool because it does connect child behavior with adult behavior. And I'll give a couple points here. And if you're watching this on YouTube, I'll put it on the screen. So the childhood behavior is children will run away from you. Adults avoid confrontation. Children sulk or pout in the corner. Adults will give you the silent treatment. Children will shut down. Adults will act stoic. Children throw tantrums. Adults erupt, rage text, and they vent. Children slam doors. Adults slam doors too. Children lie. And as we know, adults lie too. There's a lot of connection of like who we are as our childhood selves. And if we don't work on that childhood self, those parts of us that we know aren't serving us as adults, we will be stunted in that growth. Not me, because I'm working on myself, but others that we deal with. I love this book because it helps you not only navigate your emotions when you are being challenged in certain situations. Because aside from like let them, there's another part to it. Because if you let people just do things like, okay, this person is not including me, let them. Oh, this person doesn't want to text me back, let them. That can lead to a really lonely life. The other part of the let them theory, and the only way that let them theory works, is if you implement let me. I love this part of the book. And this goes right into how to manage the let them, let me theory. It is not your responsibility to manage their emotions to try to fix them. Your responsibility is to protect yourself from their emotional spiral and to see it for what it is. A person has no idea how to handle or express their emotions in a healthy way. Let them go silent. Let them erupt. Let them play the victim. Let them sulk. Let them deny that it happened. Let them make it all about them. And then the let me part is the power. This is where you regain your power. You let them do what they have to do, but you also have to take some responsibility of your own actions. So let me be the mature, wise, and loving adult in this situation. Let me decide if I want to address this publicly or not at all. Let me remind myself that managing another person's emotions is not my job. Let me remove myself from any text chain, dinner table conversation, relationship, or friend group where this is happening. And the let me is not only just removing yourself, it's also filling that void. Because if you remove yourself from every situation that is, triggering or traumatizing or just hurtful or hard or difficult to navigate, you will be a bit lonely. But you have to think about what can you fill or how can you fill that void within your life. So yes, let them erupt. Let me remove myself, but also let me go out in different spaces where I know I will be accepted. Let me try out a new hobby where I don't know anyone in the room and no one knows my name and I can just start fresh and be whomever I want to be. Let me go to a different side of town and go to that farmer's market and meet new people. I love that it's a full circle of responsibility. Yes, you're letting people be who they are. You're removing yourself so you aren't emotionally affected, but then you're also giving yourself a chance at happiness to close the circle, to close that gap. I love that this book allows you to not only see how people are affecting you emotionally, mentally, and how corrupt certain conversations could be in your life. I love that it lets people be who they are without you having the urge or the demand to change anyone else's life or anyone else's emotions. And you can in turn use that energy for yourself. How can I do better for myself? How can I make this relationship better? I can remove myself. I could always step away. I can say, thank you. That was good conversation. And bye. You don't have to always engage in things. And I think we live in a very combative time where everyone has a think piece. Everyone wants to have their opinions just be heard. And there's nothing wrong with that. But you don't have to be a part of every single conversation. You can let people have their conversation and then use the energy that you would have to argue on your own self-development. Let people be who they are. Let them show themselves. Let people show themselves down. I've been letting people just talk. And I see exactly who they are. And it's up to me to figure out what my next step is. It's no one else's responsibility to make me happy aside from myself. So if I know I'm in a situation where things aren't going my way or I'm not satisfied, that's no one else's problem but mine. So let them. I would highly recommend reading this book if you're someone who is definitely ending an era in any type of relationship, whether it's a work relationship or you're just trying to navigate hard and difficult conversations that you know need to be had, or difficult people who are going to be a part of your life forever, whether it's your in-laws, whether it's friends or family, whether it's, people in your life, it could be your children, there are definite tips and tricks in this book that are beneficial. If you have read this book, please comment on your learnings and how it's worked for you, if you've used it, or how it hasn't worked for you. If you tried it out and it didn't click, let me know that too. I think this is a great place to stop for this week's episode. And my mic drop moment is very on brand to the conversation, and that is let them. Let them, let them, let them, but even more, let me. You have the power to decide what kind of life you have. You have the power to avoid petty, insignificant, energy-draining conversations to manifest the life that you want, to manifest the relationships that you want. So let them, and as much as you let them, let you be the best version. Thank you so much for listening. I am Elise Fox. This is the End of an Era podcast. Follow me on Instagram at Elise.Fox. You can watch this episode on YouTube at Elise the Fox. And please help us reach our goal of 50 5-star reviews across all podcast platforms. So wherever you listen to this podcast, just leave me a nice review, comment, like, subscribe, and please share this with anyone who is in need of a conversation. Thank you for watching The End of an Era. Thank you for listening to An End of an Era. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.